Here's a pair of Ducati Panigale V2s. This is the standard road bike. This is John McGuinness's race bike. He and I are here at Donington Park. We're going to go head to head. Let's go. So you can pay about £15,000 for this, and you can pick one up from your local Ducati dealer. You'll be straight out, and it's a hell of a weapon. We did the press launch of this over at Jerez last year, beginning of last year. Impressive. Then you can spend a bit extra, and even though it's a sort of supposed to be a budget-friendly race series, the Ducati Trioptions series is a support series to the Bennett's British Superbike Championship, and the likes of John McGuinness and even Chris Walker this year are in it, and it's virtually it's a one-make series, and they support a lot of that championship. So they go around, they follow the guys around, they race in the same places. What we're going to do in this video is learn a little bit more about how you get from that to this and what the differences are on track. John's going to ride them both, I'm going to ride them both for what it's worth, and then we're going to chat about the differences, about how to make this from that, and then what they're like on track. Okay? We are on board then with John McGuinness as we leave pit lane. He's obviously waving to some fans there in the grandstand. So this is an MSV operated track day. We're just using some track time, and it also means that we can't use any kind of lap time, which is a shame. But there was still plenty of space on track. Here we are going down crane of curves into the old hairpin. First lap out the pits. John's been on tyre warmers, so he can push it a bit on his race bike. Well, he can push it so much, he's following me on the standard road bike. Up through Schwantz into McLean's. Bit of traffic ahead. Some grey skies above. And up the hill towards Coppice. He's keen. So you're in through the first, you miss the first apex, you try and get as close to the second, and you're on the power all the way down this back straight where the Dunlop Bridge used to be, over that little lump, jump on the brakes into the foggy S's. John takes a nice aggressive line through there. You can be cutting the second part, that's again the right hander as well. You come up and over the rise and down into the to the Melbourne hairpin. Tricky, late apex, longer than you think. You almost got to square it off, and then you're uphill, so you can drive, and the front end goes light, so you've got all the weight down the back, up and over the crest, and then downhill into the final corner on the circuit, on the Donington Grand Prix circuit at Goddard's, and then you're onto the start-finish straight over the grid lines. You're on board with me on the standard bike, hugging the pit wall. Into Redgate, late apex, get the bike stood up, use the power. Little short shift as you come through Hollywood, down through Craner. About 150, 120 mile an hour down there. Old hairpin, swoop through there. And then up we go. So this is a standard road bike, absolutely bog standard. We've reduced the tyre pressures, that's probably the only non-standard thing about it. Bit of traffic ahead, got to be courteous. We head up from McLean's towards Coppice. Onto the straight. A little look around. On the brakes, really tidy brakes on these. One of the main differences as well between this standard bike and the road bike, lovely view, look under there, hear the exhaust working, here see the suspension working. One of the big differences between the race bike and the standard bike is of course those brakes and the suspension, and it really feels on the race bikes a little bit harder setup. You know, it feels sturdy and a lot flatter, there's a lot less give in the front forks and
the rear shot. We head into the pits. So we go into the pits and swap over. So John's now on the standard road bike. I'm going out on his race bike, feeling a little nervous because it's not mine. And also, well, of course, the difference between here and the standard bike and the race bike is, of course, the race bike's in race shift mode. So you've sort of an inverted the gear shift selector. And away we go. There's plenty of heat in the tyres already. I'm getting used to what a race bike feels like. And John's getting used to what the road bike feels like. And this is the first time out for him on the road bike. So on our first lap out of the pits, we go through the old hairpin. And then up through Starkers and Schwantz. And we've got a split screen here. So the rear facing camera on the race bike and the front facing camera on this road bike. Don't know whether you can appreciate or you can hear the sound differences between the two bikes. Of course, the road bike's got the catalytic converter and the race bike doesn't, so the race bike is therefore a little bit lighter, but it's also got a straight through exhaust system and sounds like a little bit more mean and a bit more aggressive, more racy, and you can certainly tell when you're riding it when you're listening to the gear shift. You get that pop and a bang. It sounds faster. Here we are into the foggy S's. John uses more curb than I trust his line more than mine. He's obviously got fed up of being slow behind me. Either that or he's been courteous and he's shown me the right lines.
Well, we managed 3 sessions before the rain beat us. It doesn't look like it now, but it was sketchy out there. Anyway, John McGuinness MBE, thanks for coming along, mate. Yeah, well, let's give you your full title.
Nobody's ever called me that. You're the first person to actually introduce me as an MBE, so I'm peaking now, yeah. Happy with that one.
Well, I'm pleased. How's testing been? So you've been out a couple of times on your new bike?
Only once yesterday at Alton, and it was funny because it's my own little run team now, and the budget's a bit tight. I looked at the weather forecast for Silverstone. It looked a bit cold and sketchy. I thought I'll give that a swerve, and then I looked at the forecast for Snetterton, and I thought that looks bad. So I saved myself a few bob and didn't go. So
you judged it well.
Yeah, and Snetterton's a long way, and if my budget gets wiped out early on, I can't go racing with my own little team. So I thought, well, we'll go to Alton. It's not too far away. And yesterday was good, but there were long, hard sessions. There were 52 on track. There was junior super stockers. There were Ducati Cup. There was GP2. I was like getting striped to death when I went out of the pit lane. There was like 18-year-olds striping me left, right, and centre. But
they're all keen as mustard as well, because they've not been out for such a long time, I'll bet.
Even that old bugger Chris Walker striped me up a little bit as well. One of my old sparring partners. So, but yeah, it's good to see Chris back on 2 wheels. And yesterday it ticked all the boxes, got everything back going again. And you know, all I need to do is fall back in love with riding again, and I'll be away. You know, but to be honest, I did feel a bit. You know, I'm 49-year-old now, and I was a bit stiff yesterday. But yeah, we'll keep going though. Keep fighting through it.
So you did a full season on the Trioptions in the Trioptions Cup, didn't you, last year? You're back at it again this year. What have you made any changes to the bike? Is this the bike you ran last year?
Yeah, no. This is exactly as it finished Brands Hatch. Exactly as it finished yesterday. Exactly the way you rode it today. They're a bit. I don't know. I think you change things on them, and you're just changing it for the sake of it. I think because they're a nice, mellow, not too powerful engine, the chassis works, and you know, click here and a click there. You're
good to go.
Yeah, you're good to go. A little bit of gearing, and just learning to ride them, and just being out on the track. You know, that's the key to it. So we haven't really changed it. It's a bit. Not broken, you can't really fix it, you know.
So if the regs don't change, then what's the point if you've got a setup that works? And do you find yourself adjusting your style or the way you ride to it?
Yeah, I have to. I think I have to slightly change my style because I've been in such a rut for so long. I've ridden blades and I've ridden 600s, and it's the gear changes are like ding ding ding, and then that gear for that corner, that gear for this corner, and the way these you have to short shift them a bit, use the torque of the engine. And real funny yesterday, all the years I've raced, it's a long time. Yesterday I was puffing and panting a bit on the bike and struggling a little bit, to be fair. And then the last lap of the last session of the day, I went, I'm going to go in there a gear higher. You know, I'm going to take Cascades in fourth, I'm going to do his chicane in third, which I've been doing second all gear. It felt slower than it was the fastest lap I'd done all day. So, you know, it closed the gap, and it was nice to sleep on that to go forward to the next test. But I mean, it's a V-twin, it's nice. We're all on the same bike, everybody's the same speed. There's old riders, young riders, fast riders, and not as fast riders. I wouldn't say slow riders. So I blend into it nicely. You know, if I'm fourth or I'm eighth, nobody's got the pressure on me. You know, so but for me, I'm keeping bike fit. It's giving my family something to do. My boy's involved in it, and he's sort of
crew chief.
He's a bit cleverer than me. He's all over me all the time. You know, have you ordered this? Have you got that sorted? Have you got your? I mean, typical me. It was yesterday morning. I'm still sorting my flipping race license out. You know, so and we worked till 3 o'clock last night to get this ready with a new colour scheme for the new sponsors. So it's and all that lockdown, we've had months and months to sort it. But it's just racing in it. We're all in the bloody same boat. Everything's last minute. But I really enjoyed last year. You know, I finished 7th in the championship. You know, I had a bit of a rough time with a silver British motorcycle I rode. We all know what that one is. It wasn't much fun.
A few missing parts, weren't there? I think by the time you finished that.
Yeah, there were bits dropping off it around the Isle of Man, and it's not what I'm used to. You know, I'm used to. I've been lucky. I'm in situations where I've been great people around me and good teams, and lots of great finishes and results around there. So it took everything away from me what I go racing for, which is fun and enjoyment. And then I looked at everything what to do, and I thought these are sensibly priced. You can buy one if you register for the championship. I think they're about £11,500. You know, you get it through a dealer, so the dealer's happy, Ducati are happy. You know, you buy your exhaust pipes through the end cans through the dealer, and they map it, and they're all on the same map, so we're all on the same bike, and nothing's any quicker than anything else out on the track. And the best rider wins on the day. And
makes it a competitive and enjoyable championship, I guess, for those competing, but also the fans watching, and for Ducati to show off their wares as well, right?
Of course, yeah. I mean, touch wood, we've never had any problems with this. This just gets its oil changed regularly. I mean, I think it's still on. I think that changed in most of the season, you know, because a superbike got 230 plus horsepower. That's hurting stuff, isn't it? Everywhere, you know, it's wearing parts out. These don't wear the parts out. I think it's been a great, reliable package that's, I keep saying it's filled the gap, but it sort of hasn't, you know what I mean? I always think about how I'm going to be at the TT and things, and this is keeping me sharp, but
it's a different kettle of fish, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I finished 4th at Ulton, and I'm nibbling at the podium. I really want to climb them steps to get onto the top of a, well, maybe not the top of a podium, I'm not quite fast enough, but any of the 3 steps to do.
So taking one of these out of the showroom, these are 15 grand retail.
Yep.
155 crank, 200 kilos wet weight. Mega V-twin. It's got a bit of power. It's real light. It steers well. It brakes well. But to convert it into that, what are the regs? What are the rules? What can you do?
There isn't a right lot you can do with the engine. I believe you can change the head gasket, but we haven't done that with this bike. This makes same power as everything else on there. Obviously, aftermarket steering damper. We've got in the internal forks. The external has to look standard, like the standard road bike. The internal has got K-Tech fork kit in it.
Same as the rear.
Yeah, rear shocks, K-Tech shock, brake linings. It's got Hell brake linings on it. We've got the Spider footrests on. The quick shift is standard. Subaki chain through Renthal, who's sponsored me for years, and the sprocket carrier. Actually, nobody had any sprocket carrier, so Birdie gave me that off his V4 Ducati, so
that's half a second there.
We pinched that off Birdie's bike. Yeah, brake pad materials you can change, so it's got Brembo discs on. the standard ones sort of can't cope with the racing. We've got standard ones on my wet wheels, but for the dry we run these Brembo ones.
Is that because of the sort of the hot-cold cycle? They don't quite
get really hot. I mean, we had a pair bend here, but Donington's a bad circuit for bending discs. It's really hard braking in a lot of places. So, but yeah, the lights off, and that's it. You know, the fuel map they provide for you, the end cans. But we had a ride around today, and I'm sort of disappointed in that. And like, there were not a lot in it. There was absolutely nothing in it, and that's like say 200 kilos. So it's going to be. What would it be? 20 kilos? It's got to be 20 kilos heavier than that. But
so well, then, let's talk about the differences. You're familiar with that bike. You rode this bike for the first time, didn't you, here today?
Yeah. And when we got the bike out the showroom, we just stripped it and turned it straight into one of these. So I'd never ridden a road bike at all. But I have to say, I thought it was lovely. I thought it was really, really nice. It's nice to ride a bike where you're in front of it. You know, I've ridden the V4, and sometimes it's riding you, sometimes it's so powerful.
It's a bit more chaotic, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot going on, you know. But if you can go for a ride on the road, and it's like a pussycat. It's quite comfortable. You can go and do 200, 300 or 400 miles on it, and you can come and do a track day on it. I don't even know what the tyres are, but they were plenty of grip.
Yeah, Diablo Rossa Corsa 2. So
I followed you on the tyre one was on. You went out with cold tyres. I was like, yeah. So it shows how good they are, and the heat cycle straight into them into the working window was real quick. But I enjoyed it. Braking, stability. I never got any sort of tractions and anything like that working, but I was having a bit of a go on it, and it was.
We had engine braking on 2, we had traction on 1, wheelie control on 1, so it's fairly dialed down. ABS was off at the rear, front I was on 1. So I checked, and it's almost an identical setup to how you're running that.
Yeah, and that's what we have. Yeah, a bit of engine braking on this. Well, I think we have full engine braking, traction at 1. Like, it just helped it turn a little bit with quite a bit of engine braking on it. But I just really enjoyed it. You know, it didn't do anything wrong. Didn't do anything amazing. It just was just a nice, pleasant bike to ride, you know.
I get your point on the brakes as well. I mean, it seems. I mean, this feels a little bit more aggressive probably because of the sound, because of the pipes. You got the race cans on there. So even when you are using the quick shifter and there's that slight ignition cut, it just sounds almost like a pop and a bang, isn't it? So it feels a bit more racing. Obviously, it feels a bit stiffer because of the forks and the shock there, but.
That's all it is. It's just a slightly more racier version of that, you know.
It's minimal. There's no power difference, is there?
No.
You know,
you would think it should be, but there wasn't. I don't understand. That'll have a cat in it, won't it? And all the rest of the weigh a ton. That. Because when we took that standard one off, it was like, yeah, that's a lot. Sort of lighter titanium setup, but yeah. So maybe you're a bit lighter than me, but I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe not.
That's I still count it.
Yeah,
Christmas
like a head-to-head race out of Goddard's, and there was nothing in it. Maybe we were just gaining a little bit on that towards the end of the straight, but.
If you were to, it's a regular Ducati track day, so of course we can't have lap timers or data loggers or anything like that, but could you guess if there was going to be much of a difference? Lap time if you were all out?
It's weird because I'm used to racing tyres and coming off 100 degrees and being able to just lay straight into Redgate at turn 1. I reckon if you put a set of them on that and really had a deep breath on that, I don't think there'd be much in it. Maybe, I don't think there'd be lots in it. There would be something in it, but not a lot, maybe a second or something. If you took a deep breath on that, I'd have go. I think so, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know about ground clearance and maybe you're scraping. You might scrape your pegs and that, but
yeah, it's supposed to. It's supposed to look like the Panigale V4. It certainly does. Aesthetically, it's pretty pleasing. It looks great. Turns well. I was so impressed.
I think it's a lovely bike. Yeah, you know, and if you want a super bike looking thing for sensible money and you want to take it on the track, ticks all the boxes for everything.
John, thank you for your time. Thanks for letting me have a go.
Pleasure.
And thanks for showing me the way around. Good luck for the season, man.
All right, mate.
Cheers. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.